is there how you change your names so that we will know you. And please invite your other friends, classmates, schoolmates to join the webinar. Thank you. All right, as we start our program, we would like to request everyone to please prepare your hearts and mind for the invocation followed by the Philippine National Anthem.
Dear God, thank you for the opportunity to meet together. Please help us to come together to make this institution reflect your kingdom. Breathe life into our ideas and decisions. Help us build a team that has love and respect at its heart. Give us the strength to continue working for your kingdom in this time of pandemic. Lord, come give us the inspiration to be the best we can be. May we be a shining example of your goodness and truth within, wherever we are. Inspire our thoughts, discussions, and ideas, and continue to remind us that all that we do here today, all that we accomplish, is for the pursuit of truth for the greater glory of you. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
Dibdib mo'y buhay, lupang hinirang, tuyan ka ng magiting, sa manlulupang, di ka pasisingin, sa dagat at pulo, sa simoy, sa langit mong paghaw, may dilag ang tula, at awit sa patayang pinamahal, ang islap ng wataw at mo'y tagumpay na nagniningning, ang bituin at araw niyang kailan pa mo'y di magdiling.
All right, so good morning, everyone. I hope that your morning is great. And before we start, we would like to remind everyone to register because we will be giving e-certificates after the program. So again, my name is Jam, and I am one of the interns of the Guidance and Teachers Council, and we are very delighted to all your beautiful and handsome faces today. Before we start with the program, again, we would like to remind everyone for the house rules. Please turn off your mics, turn on your cameras, and change your names following the format. If you have any questions, please gather them because we will have a Q&A portion after the talk. Now, may we call on Ms. Rowena C. Talatayod, our Tertiary Guidance Officer, for the opening remarks. A round of applause, please.
Our Guidance Director, Guidance Officers,
interns, and tertiary students, good morning. The Guidance and Testing Services Center, in celebration of the Mental Health Month, brings you this webinar. This aims to bring awareness that whenever you feel overwhelmed with hopelessness, self doubts, and questions of worth, you only have to look up and see the infinite universe. In its vastness, there must be hope. So steady your weary heart and have the courage to silence voices of doubt and fear and out loud say, I am enough. Negative thoughts do not control me. I am in control and there is hope. The path to well being begins with a single small step. Today, by joining this webinar, you have made that first crucial step towards making well being and mental health a priority. Dear USPNs, it is my pleasure and privilege to welcome you all to Anxiety and Depression Signs Symptom Support webinar. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Rona, for that warm welcome. As we start our program, we request everyone again to please turn on your cam so we could see your smiles as we take our first photo of the day. So I encourage everyone to please open your cameras. All right, so I don't see much opening the cameras. Nashy mo, guys. All right, there. Hi. Disable man sa host. Mao may gawas. Oh, okay, wait. All right, so everyone can open other cams. All good na po. Diba? So nice to see you guys. Hello. The others, wear your faces so we can take a photo.
Okay, so I'll be taking the photo. So 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, another one. 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you guys. It's so nice to see you, participating and seeing you all smile for today. Okay, so now I would like to introduce to you our speaker. So we will go directly to our talk. She is a Taclobanon who earned her bachelor's degree in psychology from Asian Development Foundation College, a registered psychometrician, and currently taking her master's degree in clinical psychology at St. Scholastica's College, Manila. For 3 years, she was a guidance officer at Liceo del Verbo Divino. At present, she is the university psychometrician of USPF, a psychological first aid responder at Projectaha Psychological Training Services, and an on-call proctor for GRACE, Global Resources for Assessment, Curriculum, and Evaluation Incorporation. Without further ado, let us give our warmest welcome to Ms. Maria Liza Gail B. Marquez.
Okay, so good morning, everybody. Okay. I can't seem to see everybody. Anyway, so I would like to start off by asking, how are you today? How are you yesterday? How are you for the past week? So can I see your answers sa chat box. Were you able to attend the webinar yesterday? So I think yes. So our technical team answering, okay. Yes, so they were able. So I think my discussion today will be a bit more of a review of what um, Dr. Dijan discussed yesterday, no? So anyway, so let's start. So my topic will be anxiety and depression, signs, symptoms, and support. So first, let us tackle what is anxiety. So anxiety is it is an emotion characterized by feelings of tension, worried thoughts, and physical changes like increased blood pressure, no? So anxiety is a normal reaction or a normal emotion. It's your brain's way of reacting to stress and alerting you of potential danger ahead. So everybody, ako, ikaw, si ang aming guidance counselors, your teachers, everyone feels anxious now and then. Okay, so for example, you may worry when you are faced with a problem at school. Okay, so for example, before taking a test, you're feeling anxious, so your hands are being sweaty, parang your sweat is very cold, so that is an anxious feeling. Okay, so before making an important decision, are you going to recite or are you gonna cheat, mag-cheat baka? So that is an anxious feeling when you're very your heart is pumping really fast. Okay, so occasional anxiety is very much okay. So it is a normal emotion. Okay, so let me ask you to get a piece of paper. So we will try to assess your anxiety level. Now again, a reminder, so this is not to diagnose you with anxiety, okay? So this is just a way to see if you're having an anxious feeling. Okay, so can you see my screen? Is it clear? Hello?
Yes.
Okay, yes. Thank you. So, okay, so over the last 2 weeks, so 2 weeks from now, so this week and then last week, how often have you been bothered by the following problems? So you'll be answering 0 for not at all, 1 for several days, and then 2 for more than half the days, and then 3 for nearly every day. So first here we have feeling nervous, anxious, or on edge. Okay, so 0, 1, 2, 3. And then the second one, not being able to stop or control worrying. And then the third one, worrying too much about different things. And then last pala. Fourth is trouble relaxing. And then being so restless that it is hard to sit still. And then becoming easily annoyed or irritable. And then last, feeling afraid as if something awful might happen. Okay, so tell me when you are done. I-chat lang if done na mo. Okay, and then you try to add up your score. So the first column, add, and you get your total score. So, yaman din lang na tayo ay psychometrician, so I did this as an activity. Okay, so but don't worry because I will not be gathering your answers. Nobody will gather your answers. Nobody will know your answers except you. Okay. But again, a gentle reminder, so do not take this at heart. Okay, so this is not for you to be diagnosed by anxiety, with anxiety. Okay, so let's move on. I think you're already done. Can I see a thumbs up or any reaction that you're done already? Done na po. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so let us see your skills. Okay, so this is the total score. No, for 0 to 4, that is minimal anxiety. Now 5 to 9 is mild anxiety. 10 to 14 is moderate anxiety, and then 15 to 21 is severe anxiety. Okay, again, this is not to diagnose you. This is just to see um how you were anxious for the past few weeks. Okay, so how do we differentiate being anxious and being or having the anxiety disorder? Okay, so this is, as you can see in the screen, no, so there are different reasons why they are different. So for anxiety, this is a normal reaction to stress or difficult times like paying your bills, after a breakup, or landing or losing a job, or it may be having a low grade, having a for the first time passing your subject, or for the first time seeing your crush. Okay, so these are normal reactions. However, for anxiety disorder, this is constant and substantiated worry that causes significant distress. So for those na for anxiety disorder, these are situations where there is no reason why you're feeling anxious. Walang pinag There is no clear reason why. You just feel it automatically. Okay? So another for anxiety is a case of nerves or sweating before a big test or performance. Yun nga, so when there is a test, you feel so anxious na, gikulbaan na ka, and you're feeling sweaty, gikuan na ka, gihangos na ka, no? So, and another is as the starting point and ending point. So again, for anxiety, that is normal. So naa good reason nga no, gi-anxious ka. And naa good times nga mag-end siya or tigla mag-stop lang siya all of a sudden. The feeling of you're sweating, the feeling of anxious feeling na murag ma-stress ka. So there is an ending point to that. So for those taking the research or their research kay college pa man no. So research, ma-feel good nimo ang anxious feeling, most especially when you are defending your paper. So that is normal. So there, the starting point is of course when your panel asks question, and then the ending point of your anxious feeling is when your thesis paper is a research paper has already been defended and you already received your grade. So wala na continuation. But if you have anxiety disorder, whether you are defending your paper or not, whether there is a dog chasing you, or whether you seen your crush, wala gud siya reason ni kuan ra gud ka og anxiety or anxious feeling. And then for the anxiety disorder, so you feel like it is impossible to control or manage your anxious feeling. While if katong normal ra gud kay maka-inhale, exhale ra gani ka, or you will talk to someone, you'll feel parang at peace, or the feeling of anxious feeling will rest. Okay, at least ma-minimize ang iyang feeling. But for anxiety disorder, it's very difficult for you to control your feelings. Okay, so that's the difference between the two. Okay, so what are the signs of anxiety? So again, ulit-ulit, no, it is a normal. It is normal to be worried and stressed during times of crisis. So especially now that we are in the phase of COVID, but I think lesser na ang feeling of anxiousness towards, as we mag face-to-face na taon classes. So while worry is a part of anxiety, people with anxiety tend to experience more exaggerated feelings of worry and tension. So some common symptoms are uncontrollable worry or dread. So mao lagi ni di ka kahibaw unsa bay reason nga nga mag-worry ka, wala mong good reason. Okay, so stomach and digestion problems. So there are times that your stomach aches, pero wala man gud kay walay reason nga magkuan mo tummy. So you've eaten and then magsakit na jud imong tiyan. Okay, it feels like there are butterflies in your tummy. Okay, third one is trouble with concentration, memory, or thinking clearly. Okay, and next is increased heart rate, and then changes in energy and difficulty sleeping. So most people with anxiety disorders are having difficult time sleeping. Okay, so that is why some of them are very murag kalit la sila mag-thin, okay, because they cannot sleep well. And then next is irritability and or restlessness. So they cannot really rest because their mind is usually thinking of parang constant worry, even though there is nothing to be worried about. Okay, so in extreme cases of anxiety, people may experience a panic attack. So what is a panic attack? So panic attacks are often mistaken for heart attacks at first, but usually go away when people are able to talk to someone else to calm their fears and practice deep breathing. Okay, so panic attacks are like um there are times that they cannot breathe, no? So sa sobrang the faster their heart rate is, that the more difficult they breathe. So that is a panic attack. And then usually their hands shake. So when you're having panic attacks, and then your ears are think parang nakahear ka og ringing sa imong ears. So that is a panic attack. Okay, so let's move on to tips for coping with anxiety. So, how can we cope with your anxiety or your anxious feelings? Okay, so the first one is stop and breathe. So, that is the most important thing when you're having your anxious feeling. So, you have to stop and breathe. So, when your anxiety flares, take time, take a time out and think of what is that is making you feel nervous. Unsa may reason nga nung nervous ka? So anxiety is typically experienced as you worry about the future or the past event. Okay, so for example, you may be worried that something bad is going to happen in the future. So perhaps you still feel upset over an event that has already occurred. Okay, so regardless of what you are worried about, a big part of the problem is that you are not being mindful of the present moment. So the next time that your anxiety starts to take you out of the present, try to regain control by sitting down and taking a few deep breaths. So taking a moment to stop and breathe can help restore a sense of personal balance and bring you back to the present moment. Okay? So usually kasi when you're having your anxiety, no, so you're thinking of what is going to happen in the future or what happened in the past. So yeah, you just sit down and then you take a deep breath and try to think of what you can see, what you can hear, what you can touch as of the moment, so that you can be brought back to the present situation. Okay, so the second is figuring out what is bothering you. So in order to get the root of your anxiety, you need to figure out what's bothering you. You can do this by putting some time aside to explore your thoughts and feelings. So writing a journal can be a great way to help get you in touch with your sources of anxiety. So if anxious feelings seem to be keeping you up at night, so there are really those na di good sila makasleep. So try keeping a notepad or your journal next to your bed. So write down all of the things that are bothering you or try to talk with a friend. Okay, so na just make sure that your friend knows how to understand your anxious feelings. Okay, so ato ta sa mga gikuan na mga friends we trust. Okay, so the third one is focus on what you can change. So many times anxiety stems from fearing things that haven't even happened or dili good siya manabo. Okay, so for example, ikaw mahadlok ka of heights, mahadlok ka nga mahulog ka sa ka building nya, di man ka mo sa building. So ngano mamahadlok ka nga mahulog, or mahadlok ka mahulog sa plane. So ngano nga mahadlok ka mahulog sa plane kay di man ka mag-jump from the plane. Okay, so kanang mga scenarios. But again, those are normal situations in our head. No, sometimes we try to overthink things. So another is, for example, even though everything is okay, you may still worry about potential issues, no? So such as um, having a low grade in your subjects or failing your subjects or becoming ill, catching COVID, or the safety of your loved ones. Okay, so just bear in mind that life can be unpredictable. Okay? And no matter how hard you try, you can't always control what happens. Wala good tay control ang anak. Okay? So however, you can decide how you are going to deal with the unknown. Okay? So you can turn your anxiety into a source of strength by letting go of fear and focusing on gratitude. So try to replace your fears by changing your attitude about them. So for example, stop fearing about ending up failing your subject. Okay? Ayaw sa pag-isip nga ma-fail ka sa imong subject or di ka makapass o sa ka-subject. Instead, focus on how grateful you are to be given a chance to go to school, to be given a chance to learn, to be given a chance to gain friends through school, or even the simplest thing of having a brighter future than most other people, diba? So there are students, there are children or teenager or adolescents that cannot go to school. Okay, so try to be grateful of that um, situation. So instead of fearing the safety of your loved one, why not try to spend time with them or express your appreciation to them? Okay, so with a little practice, you can learn to pick up a more positive outlook in time. So at times, really, anxiety may actually be caused by a real circumstance in your life. So perhaps, let's say, in a realistic situation, okay, so being worried about your subject because really you're having a hard time, you're really kuanan jud ka dili jud ka makapasar sa imong subject, naka 2 times na ka mag-take, naka 3 times na gud ka mag-take niya, wala good di jud ka makapasar. So why not try to enroll for additional help like a tutorial service or watch YouTube videos for self-learning. So daghan man dira sa YouTube og kanang mga tutorials. Okay, so there are teachers in YouTube that teaches students on how to draw for the architecture. For psych, those videos about murag na magud mga videos sa YouTube, no. Anyways, so or maybe you can ask your classmates to help you to study or have a study buddy. Okay, so that are pretty much few of the things that can help you with your worries. Okay, so the first one is distract yourself. So at times it may be most helpful to simply redirect to focus on something other than your anxiety. So you may want to reach out to others, do some work around your home, or engage in enjoyable activity or hobby. So you could do some household chores or project around the house, engage in creative activity like dancing, drawing, painting, or even writing sa mga journalists. Okay, so you may also go for a walk or engage in physical exercises. So if you have a pet, you can play with your pet. Okay, so you can listen to music, watch a movie, read a book. Okay, so just to distract yourself from your anxious feelings. Okay, so the fifth one is strengthen your body and brain. So lifestyle changes can also be helpful for preventing anxiety and helping you cope with your anxiety flare. So what you eat, how much you sleep, and your physical levels can all have an influence on how you experience your anxiety. So there has been a lot of research that has found that mood and your stress levels can be affected by what you eat. So people who consume diets rich in fruits and vegetables, for example, tend to experience lower stress levels. So it has also been found that regular physical activity can be useful for both alleviating and preventing anxiety. Okay, so there was also one study that physical exercise had a protective effect against anxiety disorders and significantly reduced symptoms of anxiety. So another thing that you can do is, of course, ang ating pinakamamahal is sleep. Matulog ka. Okay? So sleep can also be a powerful effect on your mental well-being and your anxiety levels. So it has been researched that problems with sleeps are also one risk for developing anxiety disorder. So of course, I think we have experienced this, that when you have trouble sleeping, your mind tends to go otherwhere, parang mag-fly good siya somewhere niya, mag-overthink na ka. Okay? So there is a time that you can be diagnosed with anxiety disorders because you're creating scenarios in your head. Okay, so it can be generalized anxiety disorders, panic disorders, some type of sub branches na anxiety disorder. So there is a lot of branches of anxiety disorder. So yun. So even short-term disruptions in your sleep may lead to increased levels of stress and anxiety. Okay, so to overall recap, what are the tips? What I can say to you about anxiety is just to take care of your mind based on how you care of your body. No, so if you take care of your body, of course you're already taking care of your mind. Okay, so it really helps to prevent and relieving your anxiety. So to combat your anxiety, try on focusing on eating healthy and engage in regular physical exercise, and as much as possible, get enough rest. So dili manggod mada ang 8 hours of sleep, so try at least 6 hours. Okay? So now let's move on to the other topic, which is depression. So this is quite a very controversial topic, no? So what is depression? Okay, so a mood disorder that causes a persistent meaning always good siya, di good siya mawa nimo. Okay, feeling of sadness and loss of interest. Loss of interest is what you like before is now what you hate now. Okay, so for example, you like drawing before, and then all of a sudden you don't like it anymore. You like being with your friends, then all of a sudden you don't want to be with your friends anymore. So this can interfere with your daily activities. So it affects how you feel, think, and behave, and can lead to a variety of emotional and physical problems. Again, so everyone experiences sadness at times. Okay, so maka-feel jud tag sadness, di jud na mawa. Okay, because that is part of our emotions. Okay, so but keep in mind that depression is something much more bigger than sadness. So I think can you still remember what Doc Dijan told yesterday about depression? I think he mentioned that as much as possible, do not use depression as a verb. It do not describe your sadness as depression. So when you're asking a friend, are you feeling sad? Kana rang ayaw lang pagkuan og kanang feel nimo depressed ka, kana kay murag dili good siya verb ang depression. It is a word that is parang a deep word that is something more than sadness. Anyway, so depression is extreme sadness. Again, so extreme sadness good siya, or despair that lasts more than days. It actually, for DSM-5, or the diagnostic um DSM, statistical mental health no illnesses. So for depression to be for your sadness to be diagnosed with depression, it should last, the symptoms should last for 2 weeks. Okay, so if dili good siya maglast for 2 weeks, it will not be considered as depression. It would, depending of course of the situation. Okay, so there are those na ang reason kay tungod manggod sa grief or somebody died in your family. So of course, the 2 weeks is very difficult for you. So makonsider siya o kanang grief depression, but it is not really, it will not be diagnosed as depression yet. Okay, so it is a very long process on diagnosing depression. Okay, so depression again, it is the most common mental health disorder. But fortunately, no, so this is treatable with a combination of therapy or counseling and antidepressant medication. But usually if it is meant when you're taking already antidepressant, no, so it usually is the severe one. So it is really becoming a disability for you. Okay, so let's move on. So I have here another scale. Okay, so let's see your depression scale. Now again, this is not to diagnose you with depression. So this is just more of parang assessment on what you were feeling for the past 2 weeks. For the past week. Okay, so we have here the rating is 0, did not apply to me at all. 1, applied to me to some degree or some of the time. 2, applied to me to a considerable degree or a good part of time. And then 3, applied to me very much of or most of the time. So you may use your previous paper. Okay. So number 1, I couldn't seem to experience any positive feeling at all. For the past week, you were not happy, you were not laughing, there was no light. Okay, it was all dark for the past week. Now, number 2, I found it difficult to work up the initiative to do things. So dili jud ka mag-study, dili ka mag household chores, um dili ka mag sa pa. Dili ka mag-take a bath, dili ka mag-toothbrush. Okay, so it is really difficult for you. Number 3, I felt that I had nothing to look forward to. So you were not excited waking up. Okay, so number 4, I felt downhearted and blue. Number 5, I was unable to become enthusiastic about anything. Dili, wala jud, di jud ka happy. Okay? Nya i-surprise ka sa imong friends, wala jud ka maka-feel og appreciation, wala kay ma-feel na surprised, murag wala lang, blank face jud ka. Okay, so number 6, I felt I wasn't worth much as a person. So you felt worthless. So nobody valued you. Okay, number 7, I felt that life was meaningless. So wala jud meaning imong life. So walay purpose nga no nga nabuhi pa ka kana ang number 7. Okay, so again, I am not trying to diagnose you. Okay, so this is just an assessment. So are we done answering? So may I see sa chat box? Are we done? Okay, anyway. So if you're done, so here is the scoring. Okay. So you add your ratings to get your partial score and multiply it by 2. So for example, your ratings are 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 0, 0. So you add that and you get your partial score, which is 3. And then you multiply it by 2. So you get 6. And then your score will be 6. So that is normal depression. So normal is 0 to 9, mild is 10 to 13, moderate is 14 to 20, severe is 21 to 27, and then extremely severe is 28 plus. Now, for this result, okay, so I would advise those who have 14 or the moderate to extremely severe to try to communicate with your counselor. Okay, so for those who have normal and mild, so for those mild, I think it is up to you if you want to talk to your counselor. But what I would advise is for those who have moderate, severe, and extremely severe to try to communicate with your counselor. Okay, so for those who have normal, good for you. Okay, so now let's go to what are the causes of depression. Okay, so so for those now, my 14 is moderate. Okay, so you may want to go to your counselor and try to talk about what you were feeling. Okay, also for the 16. Okay, so try to assess what happened for the past few weeks that um made your score that high or that low. Okay. Sige, let's move on to what are the causes of depression. So why are people having depression or feeling depressed? Okay, so we have here genetics. Okay, genetics meaning the family history of depression. So if your mother or your uncles or your lola, okay, was diagnosed or developed the condition of depression, so you may have higher risk in developing the condition. So you are more likely to experience symptoms of depression. So if others in your family, okay, so or other type of mood disorders, or there are a lot of mood disorders. So you can have bipolar, okay? So you try to or meron tayo nung anger disruptive disorder. So that is part of the mood disorder. So basically, the number one causes of depression is genetics. Okay, another one is brain chemistry or imbalance. Okay, so one potential biological cause of depression is an imbalance in our neurotransmitters, so which is involved in our mood regulation. So certain neurotransmitters such as your dopamine, serotonin, and norepinephrine. So these play important roles in your moods. Okay. So another is physical and health or certain medical conditions. So for those who have cancer, who experience a mga chronic illness, sleep disorder, or yung thyroid condition, so depression rates tend to be higher. So among them, because if you experience, 'di ba? If we experience a physical health problem, you may discover changes in your mental health as well. So there is hopelessness. So the feel of not being okay, the feeling of basin dili na ko ma-treat. Okay? So there are higher chances that they will develop depression. Another is for our female audience, so female sex hormones. So as women are especially prone to depressive disorders, especially during times when our hormones are in flux. So such as around the time of our menstrual period, for those pregnancy, childbirth, and perimenopause. So I think wala pa man gud ta diri magmenopause, no, but the risk of depression declines after sa menopause. So I I don't know if you've noticed, but those who are already in their 50s or 60s, they usually are the more parang happier tanawon because parang naglower naman gud ang risk of depression, din agud sila mag-overthink, no? So but mas higher ang chances when you are in your adolescence. So for those in college, no, so mga 18 years old and above, mga until 30 years old, dira jud mag-heighten ang depression state. Okay? So meron din tayong sinasabing what do you call this? Parang I forgot. Later na lang ko malala ko. Anyway, another is poor nutrition. So a poor diet can contribute to depression in several ways. So a variety of vitamin and mineral deficiencies are known to cause symptoms of depression. So in addition, diets high in sugar. So for those who na mahilig sa sugar, so basically some even develop diabetes. So it is associated also with depression. Okay, so there are studies that found that diets either low in omega-3 fatty acids or with an imbalanced ratio of omega-6 to omega-3 fats are associated with increased rates of depression. Okay, so another is stress. Okay, so stressful life events which overwhelm a person's ability to cope. So this can also be a cause of depression. So researchers, okay, suspect high levels of hormone cortisol which are secreted during periods of stress. So this may affect the neurotransmitter serotonin or your happy hormone and contribute to depression. So again, lastly, ay hindi pa pala last. Second to the last, no. So I have mentioned earlier about grief or loss. So this can also be a cause for depression. So following the loss of a loved one or people who are grieving experience many of the same symptoms of depression. So there is the trouble of sleeping, poor appetite, and loss of loss of pleasure or interest in activities are normal for those who are grieving or for those who experience loss. Okay, so it may be a loss of a pet or nag-grieve ka sa namatay ni mo na pet or grieving because of um, parang from a heartbreak. Okay, so those are types of griefs. Okay, so the symptoms of grief are expected to subside over time. So di good siya magdugay kay maka move on manggudang. There is the capability of a human being to move on. Okay? So but when your symptoms get worse, so eventually the grief may turn into depression. Okay. So, and last one is substance abuse. Okay. So, if you were able to attend the drug awareness webinar last October 19, so I think Miss Bea, Bea ba to? Bea mentioned about depression. No? So, drug and alcohol abuse can really contribute to depressive disorders. So, even some prescription drugs that are prescribed by doctors are linked to depression. So some of the drugs that have been found to be associated with depression. So includes your mga anticonvulsant, mga stimulants, benzodiazepines, corticosteroids, and beta blockers. There are also those na for those who are taking hormonal pills. So it is also linked to depression. So it's very important to review any medications that you have been prescribed with. So try to speak with your physician or your doctor if you are feeling depressed, no? So that they can change your medicine or they can change the milligrams. Okay. So now let's try to know the signs of depression. So this is for the adolescents, so for your age. Okay, so in most cases, especially in adolescent, symptoms may include sadness, irritability, feeling negative and worthless, anger. You may add on poor performance or poor attendance at school, feeling misunderstood and extremely sensitive, and using recreational drugs or alcohol, eating or sleeping too much. So we add here also self-harm. Okay, so loss of interest in normal activities and avoidance of social interaction. So these are just the parang minimal um, symptoms of depression. So if we're going to base this in the DSM-5, so there is a lot more. So mag-checklist pa ta o Kanang in the past 2 weeks, what have you been feeling? So kana. But in your case, so more like good. So depression, signs of depression. Okay. So what are the ways to cope with your depression or your depressive symptoms or your sadness, feeling of sadness? Okay. So first is develop a strong support network. So one of the most important things you can do to help yourself with depression other than medication or counseling is to develop a strong social support. Okay, so for some, this may mean forging stronger ties with your friends or your family. So because knowing that you can count on supportive loved ones can help you go a long way towards improving your mood or your depression. Okay, so for others na murag lisod jud siya makakuan or ang reason jud sa iyahang depression is niyang family. Okay? So you may try to do counseling or therapy as your choice, no? Try to talk to someone. Always try to talk to someone. Never kay dili jud ka maka-win sa battle alone. Okay? So always opt to talk to someone. Okay. The second one is reduce your stress levels. So when you're under stress, your body produces more of hormone called the cortisol. So in short term, this is a good thing. So okay, good lang ang ma-stress ta because it helps you gear up to cope with whatever is causing the stress in your life. But over the long run, if dugay na gud ang imong stress, it can cause many problems for you, which is again including depression. Okay, so the more you use techniques to reduce the stress, the better because it will reduce the risk of you becoming depressed. Okay, so another, kanina pa, since anxiety, so improve your sleep hygiene. Sleep and mood are intimately related. So, but you might feel like you can di jud ka makatog bisan unsaon nimo pagbali-bali sa imong body sa bed, or perhaps naka-struggle ka to get out of bed because you feel exhausted all the time. So good sleep hygiene could be key to improving the quality and quantity of your sleep, no? So try to turn off your cell phones, your laptops, your tablets an hour before you go to bed. Okay? Or you may dim your light to read a book or engage in another relaxing activity. Okay? So only use your bed for sleep. Okay? So do not do your assignments, your projects in bed because you'll associate your bed with stress rather than relaxation. So if makita ka sa imong bed, mas maka-feel na ka og stress, maka-feel ka og mag-assignment na pud ko, ay magkuan na pud kong project. So instead nga ma-feel nimo at peace kasi imong bed, mas ma-feel nimo ang tension. Okay? So another is improve your eating habits. So same as with anxiety. So research still continues to find clear association between diet and mental health. So in fact, there have been so many studies that have shown improving nutrition can prevent and treat your mental illness. So murag mainstream good ang healthy living. Okay? So there are many brain essential nutrients that can affect depression. So for example, in a study in 2012 found that deficiency in zinc is associated with depression. So trying to improve your diet can be the key to reducing. I'm not saying na mawala jud imong depression when you're improving your eating diets or the eating habits, but again, it is just to reduce your symptoms or reduce the feeling of your moods. Okay, so but again, just remember that before you make any major changes in your diet, kanang mag fasting ka or mag-try ka og supplements or mag-take of vitamins, talk with your physician or talk with a physician first. Because basin mag-body shock, so mag-body shock kani, mag-lower na po na imong moods. So same ra gihapon no story. Okay. Next is beat procrastination or avoid procrastination. Now, this is a trend to us students, no? Kay student pa man gihapon ko. So, mag-procrastinate gud ta. So, the symptoms of depression such as the fatigue or difficulty concentrating makes procrastination tempting. No, di good ta magbasa ta niya, di good ta maka-concentrate kay mag-fly man atong um ang atong mind to other place. Okay? So or sometimes maka-feel ta og kapoy, no, di na ta mag-study kay kapoy maka so mas-sleep na lang ka. So that is already procrastination. So putting things off fuels depression. Okay? So it can lead to increased guilt, worry, and stress. So it's important to set deadlines and manage your time well. So establish short-term goals and work hard to get the most important things done first. So each task you successfully complete will help you break through the habit of procrastination. So try to list down your to-do lists. Okay, so kana akong buhaton if ma-feel ko procrastination. So I try to list down unsa ako buhaton first, second, third from the most priority to the least. And then I try to check and then later ma-notice lang nako ay ma-accomplish na di ay nako tanan akong buhaton. So that is a way of beating your procrastination. Although there are times nga kanang in between your activity mag-break ka, okay, syempre we need to rest. Okay. Next is create a create a wellness toolbox. Okay, so when we create a wellness toolbox, so when you're happy, you list down things that makes you happy. You list down activities that you think that would improve your mood. So for example, today you're feeling happy, you're feeling like this is one of your good days. So write down what you did and unagon sa ka nga naka-feel man kag happiness. For example, smiling pag wake up nimo sa morning, nag-smile na dayon ka. So pwede nimo siya butang. Or listening to your favorite music, or taking a bath, reading a good book, or cuddling with your pet. So that is your wellness toolbox. So a time that you will feel sad or you feel particularly low at that point in your life, you try to recreate your wellness toolbox. Try to cuddle with your pet again. Try to listen to your favorite music. Try to take a bath. Try to read a good book. Okay, and then once you're okay, try to write down what was more effective. Okay, so that is a wellness toolbox. And then get a handle or keep up with your household chores. So depression can make it very difficult to complete household chores such as doing the dishes and sweeping the floors. No, but looking at that dishes, looking at that dirty floors, looking at your dirty laundries, no, will only magnify your feelings of worthlessness. So maka-feel jud kag worthlessness because your surroundings is not neatly organized. It is not worth living within that area, no? So try to control your daily chores. So start small project or small chores like sweeping the floors, making your bed. Okay, so at least you'll feel better. Okay, so seeing your progress in your home can be a key to helping you feel better. And then lastly, I think I missed this one is learn to curb negative thinking. Okay, so what is learning to curb the in negative thinking? So it's just simple as learn how to stop negative thinking. So depression doesn't just make you feel bad. It also causes you to think more negatively. So try to change those negative thoughts. Okay, so because it can also improve your mood. Okay, so I'll add I added one more topic, which is stress. No, because I think, as we can see in the symptoms and signs of anxiety and depression, so stress has never been absent. So it has always been present. Although I think Doc Dijan discussed this yesterday. No, we'll just have a small recap of what is stress. And he also gave you a test already yesterday. So I think I will not be presenting my test na, no. So yun. So feeling stressed, as Doc Dijan mentioned yesterday, is normal. So we need this response in order for our body to react appropriately when threatened or when our everyday balance is disrupted. So stress helps motivate us and even helps protect us. However, feeling too much stress is not healthy anymore. Okay? So if you start feeling stressed out on a regular basis, as in everyday na jud ka stress, this could lead to a greater health problem. So mo na to nga maka-feel na kag anxiety, maka-feel na kag depression. So there are common causes of stress. So I think four ang gihatag yesterday ni Sir ni Doc Dijan, but I'm just gonna summarize it into two. Okay, so there is external and internal common causes of stress. So for external stress, they would include the major life changes, work stress, relationship difficulties, financial problems, you're being too busy at work, family problems, so that are external. So sa gawas sa imong environment. Yeah, ang second kay internal. So what is internal is within you. So your inability to accept uncertainty, your pessimistic thinking, your negative self-talk, um, unrealistic expectations for those na perfectionist. Okay, so it would really give you stress. Okay, and then lack of assertiveness. Okay, so what are the signs and symptoms of stress? So there are four. So first is the cognitive symptoms. So this includes your memory problem, inability to concentrate, poor judgment, seeing only the negative, anxious or racing thoughts, and of course, constant worrying. Okay, so for emotional symptoms, so this is more of the emotions. So moodiness, irritability, short-tempered, being agitated, your inability to relax, feeling overwhelmed. There is also sense of loneliness, isolation, and of course, depression or your unhappiness. Okay, so physical symptoms. So this includes your body feelings. Okay, so aches and pains, yung mga back pains, neck pains. Okay, so diarrhea, constipation, nausea, dizziness, okay, chest pain, rapid heartbeat, loss of sex drive for those who are very active, no? Frequent colds are also a sign for physical symptoms. Okay, next is behavioral symptoms. So this includes eating more or less, sleeping too much or too little, and then isolating yourself from others, procrastinating or neglecting your responsibilities. It may also include using alcohol, cigarettes, it may be vaping or using the sticks, okay? Drugs, you're using this to relax, okay? So we may also include sa behavioral is the nervous habits, so nail biting. So for those na mahilig mag-nail bite, no? So that can be a symptom of stress already. And then pacing for those na mag-walk back and forth in places or mag-click-click sa ballpen, maka-feel na ka na stress. Okay? So those are the signs and symptoms of stress. Now, how do we manage our stress? So stress management is all about accepting responsibility, taking charge of your thoughts, emotions, and the environment. So even the way you cope with your problems, no? So a healthy and balanced lifestyle is the key, sabi. Okay? So we have here for the 4 A's of stress management. So this may not be applied all at once. Okay ra usa or duha or tulo. But at least try to go with the four. I go with one. Okay, so we have here avoid. Okay, so nadira avoid stressful situations, avoid stressful people, avoid negative feelings, avoid negative actions. So by planning ahead, rearranging your environments, and carrying a lighter workload, so stress can be often avoided. So if na is it stressful situation, like for example, mag-away mo sa imong uyab, so ayaw na lang pagsabay. Avoid na lang sa kanang yung away duha. Kung stressful people na pod, for example, na kay kakuan na imong classmate, so avoid na lang sa iya para di ka ma-stress ka na ra jud. Simple ra kayong number 1. Now, if you cannot avoid the stressful situation, try to alter it, which is the number 2. So figure out what you can do to change things so the problem doesn't present itself in the future. So this often involves changing the way you communicate and operate in your daily life. So kanang stressful situation nga nag-away mo sa imong uyab niya, di man po pwede nimo ma-avoid, no, kay mag last longer inyong away. So pwede nimo siya i-alter. Mao na to lagi nga kanang mag-trend sa TikTok na tagaan niya og McDo ang iyang uyab, kay alter na niya ang situation. Murag dili na magsuko ang iyang uyab, kay na magkaon ra silang duha. Okay, so kana. That is altering the situation. Now, the third one is accept. So some sources of stress are unavoidable. Di jud na nimo ma-avoid. So the best way to cope with stress is to accept things as they are. So acceptance may be difficult, but in the long run, it's easier than railing against a situation you cannot change. So na good situation nga dili gud nato siya ma-change. For example, ang imong gipili nga course is what is a stressful course? I think every course mong good is stressful. So let's say nag-take ka og pharma. So there are a lot of memorizations in pharma, no? So the medicines, the generic names, no? Yeah, lisod kaayo siya i-pronounce. So you just accept the fact that you like or love what you are doing. So you get to live with it. So kana acceptance na lang good. Okay, so but if you cannot really like, if you don't really like or love what you are doing, this is one thing that I have learned through the past years. Pero di pa ko kanang tiguwang good, no. But this is one thing that I have realized, no. If you don't really like, love what you are doing, there will really come a time na mag-avoid na ka, nga di na ka mag-function, maka-feel na ka og kanang stressful na always, nga ma-depressed na ka, maka-feel na kag anxiety whenever you're in that area. Okay, so one thing you can do is dili na nimo i-pursue. For example, for those na stress na kaayo sa usa ka situation, no. So if you think that it has already been kanang maka-cause na siya sa imong discomfort, maka-cause na siya sa imong marag dili na ka maka-function because of that reason, of that situation, you try to withdraw from that situation, because again, it is better to save yourself than to pursue something that will destroy you. Okay, so kana lang. Anyways, next to number 4. So number 4 is adapt. So adapt to situation, adapt to new schedules. Okay, so adapting often involves changing expectations and attitudes, which in turn will lower your stress. So for example, for those na nag-take lagi og pharma, na maka-accept na siya nga kana good ang life sa pharma, kay lisod kaayo mag-memorize og kanang medicines sa mga generic names niya, mag-compute pa mo kung pila milligrams ani, compute ninyo kana. So mag-adapt na lang ka to change. adapt a positive thoughts. Okay ra kay para ni sa akong future. Okay kay para ni sa akong betterment para maging professional ko one day, mahimo kog pharmacist. Okay, so that is on how you try to manage your stress. Okay, so I think that is the end for my talk, no? So again, for this month of October, the theme was mental health for all. Okay, so basing on your results from your assessments yesterday, so stress, and then today for anxiety and depression, try to review or reassess yourself if you need help. Okay, so there is no harm in trying to reach out and going to the counselors or trying to contact someone or going to a psychiatrist or psychologist. If you can afford it, you may opt to do so, no? So there is no parang there is no parang walang mawawala if you go to a psychiatrist, psychologist, or a counseling services of the school. It is just a way for you in helping yourself um, be more efficient. Okay. So before I end, so I'd like to leave with you a quote. Okay, so if we do not learn to control these things in our lives, they may very well end up controlling us. So if you let your depressive symptoms, your anxious feelings, your stress overrun you, so they will tend to control your lives and you'll be having a very sad and murag challenging life, no? So try to change your mindset, try to change um your diets, sabi nga nung mga support. Okay? So yan. So thank you for listening.
All right. So thank you, Miss Gail, for that wonderful talk. It was very informative. It was very useful for us students. This talk, especially those who are struggling and napagbuhat, who still adjusting to face-to-face classes. Especially we went through 2 years of no face-to-face. So again, thank you, Miss Gail, for that beautiful, beautiful talk. And to check if everyone is still around, we would like to see emojis in the chat box. Show us your love and appreciation to our speaker today. So you may chat in the chat box, show us your love, and if you learned something, let us know as well. Char, my kiss yarn. Thank you, daw, ma'am. All right, so thank you guys. We're very happy to see. Oh, also there are people who are reacting in the chat, like not chat box, but like the reaction. There's applause, there's a heart. So again, we appreciate we appreciate that you stayed this long with us, and we are so happy to know that you enjoyed the talk as well. So now let us move on to the Q&A question. So I hope everyone gathered questions for our speaker. So feel free to unmute your mics, or you may chat it in the chat box for Miss Gail to answer. May, wait. All right. So wala may question, guys. Wala may like nothing. Maybe you have a question about your life that you can relate to. I mean, that you can share with us. Play. So far, no one is unmuting their mic nor chatting. Sige, ako na lang ang mo-ask. So, now my question, Miss Gail. Since you said that depression is genetic, right? I just want to ask if anxiety is also considered like under genetics. Is it also?
Yes, it is also genetic, same as with every other mental disability or illness. It is genetic.
So it's the same with depression as well. And also, as a coffee drinker, I'm pretty sure there are a lot of people in the webinar that loves coffee, drinks coffee almost 2-3 times a day.
Mm.
So I just want to know, like, does that really increase anxiety and depression? Even does being um, coffee that is brewed affect the anxiety and depression of a person? Does it really matter? Oh wait, before you answer my question, Ms. Gail, there is someone who's raising her hand. It's Eddie. Eddie, can you please raise your hand again? Right. So, okay, you may unmute if you have a question.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, also, ma'am. Then I have a question, ma'am. Is it depression? Is it possible that it, it can be inherit?
Okay. So thank you for that question. No. Yes, it is possible that depression can be inherited. So for example, your mother, imong mama naagod siya depression kanang postpartum depression bitaw. So maka-experience manggod atong mama sa postpartum after giving birth kana ang ila ma-experience postpartum. So there is a chance that or a high risk that the sibling ang iyang mga anak maka-feel of depressive symptoms. It may not be possible nga depressive disorder dayon, but the symptoms you'll be able to feel that once in a while. Yeah, moto nga ang iba mag-try to check with a psychologist if nagod siya this depressive disorder. Did I answer the question? Edil? Are you still there? Masin na pa follow up. Thank you.
All right. So thank you, Edison, for that question. Now going back, does anyone still have other questions for Ms. Gail before we go back to the coffee question? You may raise your hand if you have a question. If you have something like that's been bothering you regarding the topic.
Yes,
You
do
may
not hesitate to ask.
Yeah. So that we will also know. We will also have, like a wow moment. Okay, so far wala pa. Okay, so let's move to our coffee question. Okay, Ms. Gail. So does it matter if it's brewed or not? Does it really increase depression and anxiety if we drink that much coffee a day?
Okay, so I think I have read a research about this one, no, with parang correlation between coffee drinkers and mental health disorders. But basically, yes, you can have a higher risk in drinking coffee with depression. No, but I think it would be more kanang higher ang chance if kanang mga brewed coffee good siya compared to those mga 3-in-1 coffees, no. So a higher chance for those who'd like drinking brewed coffees. Atong mga strong coffees kayo. Kay ang iba manggod kay mag-prevent siya og sleep nya ang atong bayang kuan kay kanang once we are deprived of sleeping, we try to overthink. We try to kanang atong brains kay kuan bitaw kanang mag-go somewhere else na maka-feel na ta og tension, maka-feel ta og stress. So
All right, thank you for that answer. Okay, I will lessen my coffee now. Okay, so any more questions? Again, you may feel free to raise your hand, chat in the chat box, so we would know. Okay, so far no one is already asking. Last call. Last call for the questions. So basically, Miss, they understood your talk, so they don't have any questions. All right, so let us move on. Again, thank you, Edison, for that question, and I hope everyone listened to Miss Gail's answer. Okay, so we also hope that we have embedded something remarkable in your life that you will pass on to the next generation. So those tips that Miss Gail gave you, we hope that you would apply it to yourself. If you really answered the scale and you are concerned as well, the guidance and testing service center is always open for you. If you want to talk, if you want to open up to something, we're always here. Just remember that we're going through tough times. We are always open for you. Okay. So again, you may visit us at the Oscar Heresa building, 3rd floor, and again, we hope to see you and talk to you and help you. Now, we would like to give the certificate. I don't know where to share screen. Okay, so we would like to give the certificate of appreciation to Ms. Maria Eliza Gale B. Marquez for imparting her comprehensive knowledge during the webinar titled Anxiety and Depression, Signs, Symptoms, and Support to the USPF tertiary students, given this 25th day of October 2022 via Zoom, signed by Dr. Elita Cui and Sir Charles Roy Baggio. So thank you again, Ms. Gale, for the wonderful talk. So before we let you go, I would like to share a summary with Ms. Gale's talk. So like what she said, let go of your fear and let go of your fear and focus on your attitude towards the problem. Focus on what you have and not dwell on the negatives. Focus, it is not easy, honestly. It is not easy to be positive all the time. But being brave and tough, it will also take time. So it takes step by step. So do not rush yourself. Take it easy. Don't be too harsh on yourself as well. You are in control of your life. You are in control of your mind. So use it wisely. Worrying and dwelling on what had happened in the past will only take you back, will only take you further from your goal. If you are struggling academically, you have the privilege to use the internet and your friends, not use them in an abusive way, but like you have your friends to help you in your studies. So in every problem there is a solution. So you're not facing this problem because maulang. Actually, you're facing this because let's say God is there to test you. Okay? So again, believe in yourself. Believe that you can go through whatever challenges that is being thrown at you. So I would like to give a quote. If you are a Harry Potter fan and you know who is Albus Dumbledore, he said, "Happiness can be found even in the darkest of times, if one only remembers to turn on the light." So again, you are in control of your life. You can control your mind, and you can go through it if you think positively. Okay, so thank you again, everyone. And we want to remind everyone regarding our event this October 28th, 2022. It is our culminating activity of the Mental Health Month. So we hope to see you there. We have a morning and afternoon activities. So for the morning, we have the self-care hub. And for the afternoon, we have contests, which are spoken poetry, poster making, song composition. So we hope that you have the poster so that you can also join us. And during that day, we have a lot of booths for you to join as well. So yes, we also want to remind you again in the chat box, there is a registration form. If you still have not registered, you may still register. And the evaluation form will be closed until 1 p.m. only. So if you did not answer both, we will not be giving the e-certs. So again, we encourage you to register both in the registration form and the evaluation form. So again, we will hope to see you this 28th. And hope to see you enjoy the booths. So have a great day and enjoy your lunch. This is Jam signing off from the Guidance Testing Service Center. Thank you. Bye.
From four corners of the Philippines, we have come to be with you. Our quest for knowledge, our quest for truth, we bring to you for you to soothe. We sing to you, dear alma mater. We sing to you, we cheer for